There is a part of the weight conversation that almost nobody is having. The diet industry insists that losing weight is a matter of willpower, but you do not have one single brain making decisions about food. You have two. Roughly 500 million neurons line the human gut. This massive network is the enteric nervous system, and it regulates everything from digestion and mood to anxiety and cravings. Those 500 million neurons are in constant, bidirectional communication with the brain inside your skull. They talk to each other directly through the vagus nerve. Behavioral struggles with food are driven by this unmanaged biological system, where the second brain routinely overrides the first. Traditional therapy and mainstream diets only address the brain between your ears. They are trying to solve a complex two-part system using half the data. Dr. Kelly Burris presents a specific clinical intervention for this dual-brain reality in his book, Reprogramming The Overweight Mind. The framework approaches anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, and cravings as the exact same underlying psychophysiological problem. The methodology stands out for what it deliberately excludes. There are no medications, no subjective diagnostic labels, and no childhood food memories. In this framework, those variables actively impede progress. True permanent behavior change requires bypassing subjective psychology. You have to go straight to the physiological mechanism and reprogram it from the ground up. To understand how a craving actually forms, we have to trace its physical origin at the microscopic level of the gut. Health begins to fail at a central convergence point known as the intestinal barrier. When this epithelial wall breaks down, you develop gut barrier dysfunction. As this diagram shows, rigid crystals of oxalates can penetrate the intestinal tissue, damaging energy-producing mitochondria and degrading the barrier. Once that wall is weakened, opportunistic microbes like Candida are able to slip through the gaps and translocate directly into the bloodstream. This creates localized systemic inflammation. The gut ecosystem goes into distress, firing rapid, chaotic warning signals straight up the vagus nerve. What registers in your conscious mind as an uncontrollable emotional craving or a sudden surge of anxiety is actually your brain being actively hijacked by an inflamed gut ecosystem. The book translates this dense biology into actionable steps. Step 6 of the framework focuses exclusively on gut barrier and microbiome restoration. It targets specific, invisible disruptors like bile sludge, mitochondrial stress, and fungal overgrowth. These are variables that even functional medicine doctors often fail to test for during routine exams. To make these invisible variables trackable, the book includes the Burris Gut Health Checklist and the Food and Fitness Planner. You take the subjective guesswork out of the equation. Stabilizing and healing the gut ecosystem is a non-negotiable prerequisite. Without it, no amount of cognitive behavioral therapy is going to hold. The entire subconscious restructuring framework operates on a single clinical reality. You cannot permanently fix what you do not accurately measure. This timeline illustrates the framework's steps. Step 1, the emotional fitness checklist, establishes a baseline to define normal. Strict accountability requires tracking emotional scores and gut health simultaneously. Step 4 introduces the stop and replace system to actively interrupt negative self-talk and restructure physical cravings. You apply a rigorous clinical research posture to your own physical and emotional data. By doing so, you eliminate the chaos and randomness typically associated with eating disorders. The core proposition of the framework is clear: measure, interrupt, restructure, reprogram. Shown here, Dr. Burris's framework has been collecting client data since 1990, helping everyone from chronic dieters to medical practitioners. Lasting freedom from food struggles is possible, but it requires accepting total accountability for both the mind and the microbiome. The struggle ends once you identify which brain is making the decision. Thanks for listening.